It's the HoopWise podcast from New England Basketball Journal, a comprehensive look at the basketball landscape in New England, tracking prospects, recruiting, college, and more, with your hosts, Steve Hewitt and Ethan Fuller.
And welcome back to another episode of the HoopWise podcast, part of New England Basketball Journal. I'm Ethan Fuller. No Steve Hewitt today. He is grinding on a story, so I'm going to let him do his thing. But I'm not alone. We have a guest today, and it's a guest I've really been excited to talk to. Braintree girls basketball coach Kelley Macdonald, coaching who I might consider the breakout team of the season so far this year. And I feel a little bad saying that because I think as I was doing research going into this, you should have been more on my radar than I had you. But I'm really excited to now get the chance to hype up your team and talk about how things are going. I have a lot of good questions for you. So Kelley, first of all, how are you? Thank you for joining.
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, I felt like we were going to be pretty good this year and people kind of overlooking us. And now all of a sudden, now people know who we are and I'm not loving that as much. I thought we wanted thought I wanted people noticing us, but now I'm like, oh, now everyone gets excited and gets up to play us.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I think what's really cool is as I was kind of researching you a little bit and the team, you have been at Braintree a lot longer than I realized, over 2 decades, right? Do you know the exact years?
Yeah, it sounds really bad when you say 2 decades. That is a long time, but yeah, it's been, I've only actually coached 21 years because I took off COVID, but it's 21 years I've been coaching there. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Amazing that you stayed in an assistant role for so long. I feel like that's pretty uncommon for a lot of coaches. Did you like that?
I did. I honestly didn't ever see myself as a head coach. So, yeah, just during coaching changes, things just kind of worked out the way they did. And yeah, somehow I got here. So it's been very different, very interesting. But it's, after you've been doing something for a long time, it's kind of nice to do something different. So as I was a JV coach for a long time, I didn't think I wanted to be a varsity, but I've actually really loved it and had a great time with it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, I think that's probably a good place for us to start. I want to reflect a little bit on your time as an assistant. I think you probably had one of the cooler assistant job locations out of anyone I can think of over the last 2 decades, being part of the Braintree dynasty, 4 state championships, Kristen McDonnell being one of the most recognizable coaching names around here. First, just kind of generally, other than obviously all the winning, what are your favorite memories of that period, and what did you kind of learn about coaching that made that era so successful?
Well, it was actually 5 because I was a freshman coach back in 2006 when they won as well.
Okay, gotcha.
That was pre Kristen, so that was fun too. But yes, with Kristen, my favorite memory from her, definitely the last one was kind of like the last championship, 2019, was kind of a little unexpected. And things going on with my family and stuff like that, it made it super, super special to end on that. I don't think we knew at the time that she was leaving, but definitely that made that one super, super special, that 2019 state championship run that we went through.
Absolutely. And just, I mean, the talent that came through the program at that time. Is there anyone that you think back on? I'm sure there are a lot of players, but anyone that jumps out to you as far as like, man, I can't believe I really coached them and they kept going on and doing great things in college after.
To say that I coached them, especially that first 2 championships, I sat there and just made sure that Kristen was calm and all that kind of stuff. She did all the coaching there, and there was so much talent there. I mean, the 2 Hurley sisters, Ashley Russell, Molly Reagan, Keela Dixon. I mean, that's 5 D1 athletes that were starting for us, which was pretty crazy. And even at the time, there was still a lot of competition with the other teams that we were going against, like Bishop Fien and Newton North. There was some serious competition and serious basketball players going up against us at the same time. So the fact that it wasn't like a gimme that we would win every year because we had to, get through Bishop Fien or get through Newton North or whoever it was. So yeah, that made it fun. Definitely learned a lot from Kristen. But then the next 2 state championships, I mean, I guess in my head for like kids that I got to coach Janiah Jones for 2 years on JV, which is just craziness that she was on JV for 2 years. So that is like, she is the one that I look at and be like, I can't believe I got to coach her. So it makes me so proud when I saw how amazing she did down at Rhode Island College and all the things she could accomplish there. So that one makes me like, that's the one that gets me because I actually did coach her. Whereas the varsity girls, they didn't need me talking to them and telling them what to do, the Hurleys and everything like that. So that's the one that gets me. That's
really cool. That's amazing. And I think you kind of hinted at this, but I don't talk with a lot of people about the life of an assistant coach and a JV coach. Can you describe what, like, what was that lifestyle like for you? And what responsibilities did you really take a lot of pride in?
Mhm.
What do you think it's overlooked? Because obviously the head coach is the face of the program, really, but you
Right.
had a really large impact on it.
I mean, I think especially when you're talking about Kristen McDonald, she did not need my help in basketball skills wise or knowledge wise in any way, shape, or form. My thing was like I just needed to be there at all times. Like as a varsity coach, you're dealing with a lot of teenagers all the time, and by yourself a lot of the time. So I just always want to make sure she was never by herself in the gym. She always had an adult to talk to, someone that she could bounce things off of. I wanted to show up for her for, not just games and practices. I'd stay later with her, um, you know, um, making sure things ran smoothly when it came to behind the scenes kind of things, is if I could do anything to take any off her plate, because when it comes down to it, Kristen was making all the decisions, all the choices, and all that stuff. You just want to make sure they're not worrying about who's making it on the bus, or whose physical is getting expiring. So you want to just try and take as much off their plate as possible, because she's a basketball guru, so it's not like I was going to help her much and give her any, here and there I'd tell her some my thoughts and my ideas, but for the most, that's all Kristen. But I just feel like if anyone's going to sit there and help you make your life easier while you're being the head coach, that's kind of what I saw my role as for Kristen.
Yeah, yeah, that's very admirable. Or I guess, how would you characterize your relationship with her now? Both head
Oh,
coaches. Obviously, it's been a little while at this point. Yeah.
yeah. Oh no, we're like very close, almost like family. She became. We did a lot of when we coached together, like every Tuesday and Friday night, we'd go out, and it was meant, she coached with her brother, so that meant Jim was out with us. And she always talked about how we always did it for our dads. Her dad was very much into it. My dad was a super, super basketball fan. So we went out with them and, broke down games afterwards, talked about a lot of stuff. So that was, we became very close. She had a really, really great relationship with my dad. And then when she went on to Nord, my dad was sick at the time, and my dad lived in Nord. So he got to, with COVID and all that stuff, he was actually able to watch all her games because it was always on cable access. He would text her right after the games before she even got to the locker room to talk to her boys. Or then when, so she was, they had a very close relationship like that. So yeah, no, we're basically, she invites my sister and me to, her wedding and things like that. So we're very close. When
Yeah,
you go through a decade of a lot of stuff, you become close.
yeah, and I imagine seeing the full emotional spectrum of both of you as coaches during that
Yeah.
time.
Well,
So
I'm a Norwood girl, so for her to coach the Norwood team, it makes me that makes me happy. Right now she's coaching one of my former teammates' daughters is on her team right
wow.
now. So yeah, it's pretty full circle that her doing that. So me growing up being a Norwood girl, I love that she's coaching Norwood, and they're having a lot of success this year as well.
Yeah, they've been a really great team. She's done a good job building that program up after
Hmm.
they had won the title a couple years ago.
Well, they actually lost in the
Or they went, sorry, you're
they
right.
went
They
to the
went
state
undefeated,
championship.
lost
Yes.
to Olive Reigns.
Yes.
My
Yes.
fault.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. I was at the game.
No.
I was at the game with that too. So
But yeah, so you are in your second year as head coach. You kind of alluded to this a little bit ago, but why was this kind of the right time for you to make this move up?
I think I definitely in my life needed like a little bit of a change, a little like kind of kick in the butt to do something different and push myself a little bit. I've been working in the same school, doing the same thing for 22 years now. I mean, no, what was it, 20 years, I guess, at the time. So I think I was just looking for something different, something to push me just at that point in my life. It wasn't something I wanted. Like, I never wanted to be the head coach after Kristen. That was just not that that didn't seem like a good idea at the time. I kind of stuck around in coaching at Braintree because of my dad was having some health stuff, and I wanted to keep him involved, to keep him interested in stuff like that. Like I said, like with me and Kristen, it was about doing stuff for our dads and stuff like that. So it kept me involved and kept me around, and then it just kind of worked out 2 years ago that it made sense for me. You become, as much as I love my Norwood program, I've been in Braintree so long that now it becomes, the Braintree program has become part of that's my heart right now. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I can do this now. Or at least I'm going to give it a try at
Yeah.
least to do this now.
Was there any pressure I know there's a couple years of buffer in between, but you're following this kind of dynasty program that you were very much a part of. Did you feel any internal pressure to like match anything like that, or did you approach it as more of a process?
No, for me coming in and being a head coach, thinking that would be no, I did not think it would be at that level. I was just thinking we just needed a change. We needed a change in energy, and I just wanted this program to be successful again. But I don't think you could ever think you could be as successful as Kristen was in that 10-year period. So I don't feel that kind of pressure, but just getting us back into a winning mentality, being someone like, fighting for a Bay State League championship, like that's kind of where I wanted to be. And we'll take it from there. But I just needed us to be more of a winning program, where we were just struggling there for a couple of years with a lack of energy and enthusiasm about the program. So I just wanted to bring it, at least get some excitement back with the fan base.
Were there any outside of obviously trying to approach things better on the basketball court, were there any off court or team building things that you implemented that you thought were helpful bringing that energy back?
I mean, I don't think I did anything major. I think the girls were ready for some change. And basically I took anything that Kristen McDonnell would do and I did it as well. And I just, I think they were ready for a change and they were ready for some excitement. And I definitely would give a lot of credit to Ava McDonnell last year. She was our captain, and just her energy. And she just really wanted it so bad to like win. And she would really like kind of drag the girls along. Like, we are going to do this. Like, this is my senior year and I need this. And I think Spadorsha, our captain this year, just has a really nice energy about her. She's just so positive. And the girls, she never like gets on the girls about trying harder or working harder. They just don't want to disappoint her because she's such a good kid. She's so positive. And so it's definitely, the energy is totally shifted.
Yeah, that's really cool. And again, this kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning, where it probably felt like your team was being overlooked. But then when I was looking at some of the games from last year, there were definitely signs. And I'll get to the Wachusett game in a second, but the regular season, like beating Notre Dame, some of the other big wins that you had, when in the regular season did you start to feel like, hey, this is going in the right direction and we are kind of on a good track?
Last year, I definitely thought we should have won more games. I think I didn't realize it would take so long for the girls to get used to me because I had been in the program. So I think we started off a little bit slower than I thought. But I thought when I saw it changing was the second Walpole game. Like the first one we lost by 14 or 16 or something like that. And I thought we kind of hung and then they kind of pulled away from us. The second Walpole game when we lost by 3, like we were in that game. There were a couple calls that, could go either way. And I'm not saying we would have won, but it was definitely like a close game. I'm like, no, okay, this is it. And it was hard. It was hard to tell the girls at practice, like, no, we're so close. But the funny thing is with the power rankings, that actually helped us. So I was struggling to get the girls like to keep motivated. But by the end of practice, power rankings come up. They're like, we jumped to, like 15 because we lost to Walpole. Mm-hmm. But it was motivating for the girls to see like, oh no, wait a second, we are doing something here. And the Notre Dame game was definitely our like premier win last year. Like that really psyched the girls up. That was huge for us. So yeah, I think I'm not surprised at our success this year, but I understand why people, we were 500 last year. I can understand why people didn't kind of notice us. But I think if you would come and see us play against Walpole the second time, Weymouth the second time, that we were doing something pretty good.
Yeah. And Walpole's still really good this year, but that team last year with Izzy Adams, Bella Bingham, obviously still like that was a really good team. So that was a great competitive loss.
Yeah.
And then speaking of competitive losses, like Wachusett, where you're up at halftime against a team that, all last year I thought they were like the one or two best teams in the entire state. What was that game like? Even, I guess, post game, like, what do you tell a team when, yes, you lost that game, but that was another statement that you kind of made?
Yeah. At that point, it's the last game of the year, so everyone's just like so sad that it's over. There isn't really much comment about that. But yes, it was funny because I had gone at Comcast and I was kind of watching Bishop Fien and playing Wachusett. And even just looking at Wachusett when I got there, I was like, wow, they look like a legit college team. Like they're all just
game. It was crazy.
So they were just so fit and whatever. I couldn't even scout because I was like, oh my God. And I went and told the girls, I'm like, you should see this Wachusett team. They're unbelievable. And then we had to play them. And we did. We hung with them for basically, we only lost the third quarter where we didn't score a single point. I think we hung with them in that first half, which was awesome. Granted, they got a little bit of foul trouble and stuff like that, but we really hung with them. I think the nerves got a little bit better of us in the third quarter. You know what I mean? We weren't kind of used to winning and pulling this kind of stuff out. Like, wait a second, what are we doing here? We're going up against the number 2 team, possibly number 1 team in the state. And we just kind of got too nervous and they came in and, there were 4 seniors, so they just took over and said, yeah. But then we hung in the fourth quarter as well. So we only lost 1 quarter in that game. So I do take a lot of pride in that. And I think our win against Chelmsford in the first round of the tournament and that game against Wachusett, I think it did show the girls that we can hang with. I don't think we're this world beater team, but I think with our defense that we can hang with almost any team.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's a great, we can turn the page to this year now, finally, because it's been unbelievable. 15-1, right? At this point. Um, and yeah, we can start. Actually, I want to start with Spadorcia because I feel like every time I've seen stats and been able to watch some clips, like she's close to 20-20 in some of these games, and the effort rebounds are unbelievable. Obviously, she's scoring the ball too. What is it about this year specifically that has just taken her to another level?
Well, I think she's kind of like one of those late bloomers to begin with. I didn't even take her on JV when she was a freshman, which is terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, she basically showed me right away that I made a mistake from like really. So I think athletically, I think she's just really kind of coming into her own right now. And I think she was starting to show some sparks last year. But I think again, it's like that whole confidence piece where I think her sophomore year, she jumped up to varsity, and I don't think she was that confident in herself and her skills. Last year was a definite change for her and helped, but I think she also just had a really great volleyball season. She was MVP of the league in volleyball as well. So I think she's just feeling like, oh, okay. That definitely helped her confidence-wise. The beginning of the season, she wasn't scoring a lot for us, but we also didn't need her to. But yeah, she's feeling much more confident. Offensively, I think it doesn't need to be all about Spadorcia because we have a pretty balanced scoring. We don't have, major scores every game, but she can, if you're going to let her get offensive rebounds, like she's going to get 20 points if she can. And if you're going to leave her one-on-one with someone, she's just so athletic. She can jump out of the gym that, it's pretty hard to stop her if you're just going to go take her one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's extremely impressive. And her leadership style too, which you mentioned a little bit earlier. What do you think makes her such a great kind of rallying player that people really want to get behind her and play hard for her?
Honestly, it's not even like a rally because it's not like she's like, come on, guys, or anything like that. It's honestly, she's just such a great kid and everyone like adores her and just they don't want to disappoint her. It's more not like, oh, she's getting on us or I'm nervous or whatever. I'm like, they just don't want to disappoint her in any way. They just find her to be such a she's just like the loveliest kid. And she gets so excited about everything. And if she gets excited about it, then the girl's like, all right, then I guess we got to get excited about it. I guess this is what we're doing right now. And they just follow along with what she wants. So, and what she cares about. And she just gets excited about whatever it's competing and whatever competition we have going on at practice or whatever it is. If she says that's what we're excited about, they get excited about it. So it's made my life a lot easier. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice luxury to have as a coach. And then kind of off of her, you have Frankie Mazzini, you have Eva Downing. I've seen their names pop up when they have great games. How do you make the rest of that roster fit, and who's really helpful with just kind of making everything work out?
Well, I mean, so like Frankie Mazzini from last year, I think her and Spaz were some of the Spadorcia. Sorry, I call her Spaz sometimes. Well, Mazzini is definitely one of the best guard defenders in the state, and I thought so last year too. She's just really stepped up her game offensively as well. There are different areas that last year where I would have said was like a weakness for her, and now she's turned them into her strength. So she's done really well. Eva, I'm not necessarily one who likes to take freshmen on varsity. I took her and Kate Sweeney last year. Eva, I think it took a little adjustment getting used to varsity level. Like in the scrimmages in the beginning of the year last year, she did great, but it came into game time. I think that girl from Newton North stuffed her one time, and it was like, oh, okay, this is real here. So
Welcome to varsity.
It took a little bit longer to get going. So by the end of the season last year, she really ended up being kind of like a starter coming off the bench. She got a lot of playing time. And again, I think she had a little bit of slow start offensively this year, but now again, when it comes to these kids, it's a lot about the confidence and how confident you are. So, us winning games, that builds more confidence. Her teammates believe in her, that builds more confidence. So yeah, Eva's been kind of breaking out right now, and it's not a surprise to me, but she's done really well, especially the last few games.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see. And even I just pulled up your schedule again. I was late on the train, and I will apologize for that. But to me, when I really was super impressed by your team was let me just make sure I have this right. So it was after MLK weekend, you have North Quincy and Quincy, in the same week. I think those teams are really good, and you
Or so good. They're so
beat
good.
them both. How important was that week? Or maybe if there was an earlier week where you were like, yeah, this really was a game changer for us.
No, that I mean, I don't think I realized how good they were when we scheduled them last year.
Okay.
But definitely, as the season started, I was like, whoa, okay, these teams are really, really, really good. So that was a huge week for us. I think that to me, like beating them, I thought our non-leagues, Bridgewater, Manham, North Quincy, and Quincy were like our toughest games, and the fact that we pulled out all three of those wins was, I definitely thought there was a loss in there because I didn't think it would be 15-1 at this time. I mean, I thought would be pretty good. I was hoping would be like 14-2, 13-3, something like that. Because I thought though at least one of those might have been a loss. But yeah, we went down to North Quincy, but just stormed right back. And that Quincy game was I thought we had it, and then they made some adjustments, and we ended up in overtime. So I mean, it's not like I think neither one of those teams that we beat by significant amount. Those were pretty tough games for us. And I think North Quincy, I mean, in D2, I think they're going to be so tough now that their big is playing a little bit more. That post player, she hadn't really played much when I had seen her, so I think they're going to be really tough in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I've said it to people I've talked to, but I think D2 is absolutely loaded, and there are some good teams. Obviously, D1 is always really good.
Right, but I mean, Medfield is just ridiculous. But I think that North Quincy team is going to be, and they're so young, they're going to be good for a couple years now.
Yeah. And again, going back to kind of those both being close wins, and we talked earlier about some of the close losses that you had. What do you think is the biggest change in flipping some of those results? Is it just a year of experience, or do you think for you as a coach, do you feel better in those moments?
I don't know if I feel better in those moments. I think the girls are just more comfortable. Like I think, like I said, when it came to switching the energy last year, the first half of the year last year, I think we were playing not to lose, and they didn't kind of realize yet that we could like play to win. And I think by the end of the season, it started flipping, and I think the Chelmsford tournament win was big for us. We went down in that game and still came back hanging with Wachusett. So I think the confidence they came in with this year was huge. We went and played at that Medfield tournament preseason, got to play against Bishop Fian, hung with them and beat them in the first half, lost them in the second half. And then we did a good job against Foxborough as well. So I think the girls were like, okay, all right, I see they see where this is going. Like we could be pretty good. So I think confidence changes everything. Like they just never, when we went down North Quincy came back, they didn't get down. Quincy came back, we didn't get down. We just kept playing. And I think that's just a change in energy and shift and the confidence in themselves. And now playing together, like the two Frankies playing together for the last now 2 years. I'm now blanking. Yeah, last 2 years. I think it just makes better relationships and brings on more confidence.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think my last couple of questions for you, again, kind of about you assuming this role as head coach and learning what those responsibilities are like. You're obviously in a decision-making role that is very different from an assistant coach, whether that is constructing like the kind of scheme you want to run. And obviously you've talked about how good your defense is. You don't have to give away all your secrets right now, but when you approach that, because you kind of have the power to determine what that is, how do you do it? Is it very much from Kristen McDonnell in the Braintree days? Are you looking online for different things that you like and seeing how your players are? Like when you have a blank slate, basically as a new head coach, what do you start with?
I start with Kristen McDonnell and whatever she does because
Okay.
that's a big one. So I do a lot of things like her. I think I'm definitely more when it comes to coaching, I'm definitely more defensive minded. And yeah, I mean, not necessarily looking online for schemes to run, but definitely like I like watching a lot of film on the other teams and what we want to do and what we want to change. That's definitely what I like to look at. And that's where my head goes defensively. I need to get better offensively. And I have Adriana Timberlake, who's on that 2019 team, helping me out a little bit. But I think defensively, yeah, I definitely like to watch film and see what they like to do and try and change, not the entire scheme like of our defense, but definitely change what we want to do here and there, depending on their out of bounds plays, depending on what they play offensively. So yeah, I don't necessarily get anything from I don't want to change a whole lot about what we do, but just, what their personnel is will change what we want to do defensively.
Yeah, that makes sense. Outside of Kristen McDonald teams, are there, because you mentioned teams that you watch on film, are there favorite other high school teams in the state where you really admire what they do? Or even if it's college related, like other colleges that you really like, who are your kind of go-to? Like if you were to say to me, you should watch this team for how they play defense, who would you pick?
I'm not really sure. I don't know about that. Because I don't really watch other people for their defense because it's just more about playing man-to-man aggressive. That's kind of what we're all about.
Okay.
Teams that I look to and want to like kind of aspire to be right now, like Medfield is something that I would want to look towards. And I'm very impressed with what Mark's kind of doing, trying to keep public school kids in public schools. Like he's running that showcase that he ran prior to the season and stuff like that. So, those are things that I want to be kind of a part of and admire and kind of let it work towards because I do love public school athletics. So that's kind of where I like kind of look to and admire. And I think Kristen's really good at that as well, but I should probably stop talking about her. So.
No, you're right. And Medfield too, again, like we both kind of said, they're just such a good team. I'm really blown away by what they are doing this year and just leveling up even from what I thought was a really good year last year. So
I mean, they've been good for a while. Like back when we had our runs, we used to scrimmage them or like go to practices with them. And because he's been doing this for a long time, they just have like crazy amount of talent. I mean, not that they haven't had talent in the past, but this talent is just like insane right now.
Are you serious about playing your sport in college? Do you need a flexible education that allows you to maintain your practice and competition schedules while also preparing you to succeed at the next level? You should check out the University of Nebraska High School. UNHS is accredited and offers more than 100 online courses, including NCAA-approved courses to protect your academic eligibility. Students could earn a UNHS diploma or take a single course for transfer credit. Courses are college prep, self-paced, and available 24/7, 365. Enroll anytime and take up to a year to complete a course. Visit highschool.nebraska.edu today.
We're going to send it over to our producer, David Yas. He's going to give us some full court press, but I learned a lot. Thank you. Cool. I'm nervous too. We'll see how this goes.
Yes, welcome back to Full Court Press. I have some perplexing questions here for our two basketball experts. Let's hit it.
Full Court Press.
All right, this will be the situational basketball edition of Full Court Press. I'm going to give you 3 situations and tell me what your strategy would be if you were the coach. Kelley, you are the coach. Ethan, you have to pretend you're the coach today.
Yeah,
but
this is...
here's moment number 1, and Kelley, you get to go first.
Okay.
Your star player has 4 fouls at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It is a tie game. What do? Of course, you can sit the player, you can replace the player, you can change something on defense. What's your general strategy there, Coach?
I mean, I'd probably need to sit her if she's got 4 fouls. But I mean, the other night, I remember my assistant coach was like, shouldn't you get her out? Shouldn't you get her out when she had 3 fouls? And I was like, no, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. So I think to me, it's going to be situational, like depending on what, I could change who she's guarding or whatever, things like that. But again, we have the luxury of not really having star players. We have a lot of like really good players. But yeah, 4 fouls, I'd probably need to sit her for a little bit.
All right.
Yeah,
that's correct. Let's move on. No, Ethan, Ethan, your thoughts?
I'm going to defer to the actual coach, but I would agree. Just again, it does kind of depend on the supporting cast you have around the star, but 4 at the beginning of the quarter, hopefully if you can make it, if this is a high school game, if you can make it 3 minutes into the fourth quarter and still be close, and then you can put them in with like 5 minutes left, I feel like that's kind of a good base game plan. But yeah, 4 fouls is a lot. Three I would keep them in. 4 is tough.
And then you have that nervous moment every time the opposing player that they're guarding is driving for the basket. It's like, you don't want them to completely back off, but please don't get the 5th. Yeah. All right. We move on. Second situation. Ethan, you can go first on this one.
Oh no.
It's you're coaching a tie game. It's the fourth quarter, and there's one opposing player who's just killing you. This player is just bigger and stronger than the rest of your team. You've been trying 2 different players on that star player, and your players are both in foul trouble. Is there anything you can do to change up strategy? You're right in the game, but this one player is killing you. What do you think, Ethan?
Um, Man, okay. If it's the fourth quarter at that point, I'm partially assuming that I've tried a couple different things and they are just beating me at that point. I would say, man, maybe I think I'd have to keep it one on one. Like I wouldn't throw a full on double team.
Mhm.
I think that's too much of a concession at that point. But I would probably put whoever I consider the quote unquote second best or most valuable player in foul trouble on them and hope they
Or
can survive.
or maybe someone who's good at defense but is otherwise sort of expendable, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, maybe, or even if there's a pretty good defender who doesn't have fouls, and I can just kind of tell them, hey, like, don't be afraid to not like hack outright, but like really, don't be afraid to pick up fouls, and if you're guarding them, and just really annoy them. That would probably be my go-to
Okay.
move. Yeah.
Okay.
That was going to be my thing, is annoy them. So I'd probably put someone that maybe isn't one of our best players, but maybe someone who could be obnoxious and face guard them and get them annoyed and just get them out of their rhythm, out of their game. And still like a double team here and there, but just like put someone like, all right, I know you don't normally pay much, but now you're going to be in her face the entire time and just try and just make her aggravated would be my guess.
Coach, do you like to have someone like that as a role player, the so-called pest?
I do. I think I have a few pests, so I can go to a couple people. I off the top of my head, I was thinking of three different kids I could probably do that with. So yeah, I definitely like that idea of, if you just need to, we were struggling against Natick and we did that. We're like, all right, I just need you you're going to be in her face and just annoy her and just get her out of her rhythm, and more than anything.
Why is it in basketball they call it the pest? If you do it in hockey, you're called the rat for some reason. I don't know.
Ooh.
All right, the final question for full court press, and this is save the best one for the last, because this is kind of an eternal question. And Kelley, you can go first on this one. You're down by 2. You're on the road, and your top playmaker grabs a defensive rebound. There's 10 seconds left. You do have one timeout left. What do you do?
Well, that's hard for me because refs never hear me call timeout. So this is going to be really difficult. Literally, they never hear me call timeout. I think it's something about female voices. They never heard Kristen either, but it seems to be even worse for me. I literally, the other day we scored because I kept calling timeout, and I think Walpole stopped playing, and my girls scored because they know the refs aren't going to call a timeout for me. So that would be really hard for me. I might just let my girls play it out. I think honestly, I would just say it when I say it would just be for this year's team, only because they just kind of do better when without the structure. So they kind of make things happen. So I'd probably do that because so many times refs do not hear me when I call it timeout anyway. So I could try, but my girls would just keep playing anyways, which is what they did the other night. So.
That seems like a huge injustice.
It's kind of tough. The ref literally was like, well, you should make a timeout sign and whatever. I'm like, I'm jumping up and down. I'm making a T and I'm screaming timeout. The whole rest of the gym hears it. And it's been a problem for me since even as a JV coach. No one, in critical situations when you know that their coach is going to call a timeout and they just never hear me. They never see me. I'm literally jumping on the court and they don't notice.
Can you try communicating to one of your players?
Right this year, luckily I have a male coach, so he'll just kind of say it here and there, and then of course it happens right away. Because it's amazing. Because against in Walpole the other night when I did it 7 times, I called for a timeout, and we end up scoring. And so Dave says timeout 1 time, and they immediately give him a timeout.
That's unbelievable. Man, I never would have thought that is. It's kind of.
I'm gonna have to watch for that one. Wow.
We'll watch it when it's male refs and female coaches.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Ethan, you can apply whatever you want to your hypothetical if you have a booming enough voice to call timeout, but maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to call timeout.
I don't really, honestly. Okay. But I think if I had in a just world and I have both options, I think I would see. I'd be willing to even burn maybe 2 seconds to see if it was a transition sequence or if it was like kind of slowed down and the defense got back. If they got back, I would call the timeout. If it was transition, I would let them play it out. Because if you have the space there, you should. And assuming you've kind of practiced transition offense, you should. That's probably going to get you an open shot better than like calling timeout and slowing down and getting to the half court. But then if they're already back, you might as well just set up a play that you like.
Yeah.
Again, so many times, like a girl, if it's not a play that you've worked on, like we never know what's going to happen. So
yeah,
more or less, trust your team.
Just anecdotally, it seems like if your player grabs the rebound and starts a fast break, you leave it alone because there are too many. It feels like there are too many things that can go wrong when you call timeout, because then you got to get the ball in bounds and set up and whatnot. And when you with a tie game, 10 seconds left, the crowd's loud. It's almost like you want to take advantage of that chaos. It's almost like, this is a twisted comparison, but famously in the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Seahawks, when Malcolm Butler intercepted at the end there, Belichick famously did not take a timeout, with every Patriot fan in America screaming at the TV for him to take a timeout. And he said he thought there was confusion on the other side, and he wanted to take advantage of that. It worked. Who knows?
If every coach could remain as cool as Belichick during that time, sure. But most coaches are not staying that calm and cool. So.
Yep. I don't think I would be able to. I think I'd be stressed. I probably wouldn't watch.
No. Bill Belichick had his emotions removed at age 17, I think, and we haven't seen it since. Well, Kelley, thank you for being such a good sport. You have done a tremendous job on three-court press, and Ethan's going to wrap up the show and then just hang on the line for a sec afterwards, Kelley. But Ethan,
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
back to you, Ethan.
Thank you. So, that's pretty much it for us. I feel like I learned a lot from this episode. Thank you, Kelley, for kind of going into your coaching history and your team too. Hopefully this gives a lot of people, including myself, a much better perspective of how good the season's been for you all. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it. So for Kelley Macdonald, thank you again. For producer Yas, thank you for running this smoothly. And I'm Ethan Fuller. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.